Live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses. You can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine game. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes the talk of the town. And we're live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabareting. And we're live tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn off all cell phones and get ready for your host, Amber LeMay.
Who's grooming who? An elite cabal of pedophiles runs the world. That's one of the theories that Phil Godlewski, a QAnon leader, used to make himself rich by building a following of thousands online. In a recent defamation lawsuit against a newspaper, this QAnon brain trust outed himself as a pedophile when it came out that he had groomed and had an affair with a 15-year-old girl. I'll ask the question, who are you safer with, a QAnon nut job or a drag queen? It's happening everywhere. In Australia, Glitter Nova, a youth pride celebration, was postponed due to safety concerns after protesters threatened the event. Drag artist Malai Bazaar, who was scheduled to perform, came out to the Victorian Pride Centre anyway, along with at least 50 supporters. The city of Stonington said they are planning to reschedule the event. Australia, people! This is happening everywhere. Report a drag show! Defend Our Kids Texas set up a website where you can report if someone is hosting a drag show. Apparently, some people have already had a lot of fun with it and left them some pretty off-color messages. People like Ben Dover left his email, jugglemyballs@gmail.com, for example. Now, I'm not saying anyone should do this, but wouldn't it be a shame if people use that same website to send them listings of, let's say, all the churches where sexual abuses have actually happened? Ho, 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 welcome to our last episode of 2022. But first, I want you to like, share, and subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss anything in 2023. Let's bring Russell in and talk about it.
Hey, Amber, happy holidays. Merry
Yes.
Christmas.
Oh my gosh, it's hard to believe a week from today it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then we start January off with a bang. Our next season, I can't wait for that.
It's going to be a great show for the new year, but in the meantime, we got lots to do tonight.
Yes. You know, those TikToks that you showed earlier, I mean, those, we're up to what? I think 32,000 people following us on TikTok. What are we going to do if they cancel TikTok?
Who's canceling TikTok?
It's Marco Rubio and some senators want to do away with TikTok in the United States.
That sounds
I don't know how
like
they could do it.
That sounds like a holiday Grinch story.
Yes, well, it's Marco Rubio, but we'll keep cranking them out as long as we can. That's for sure. We got plenty to say.
If anyone who watches on TikTok isn't following us on YouTube, you should do that, because then if they do cancel TikTok, you can see all the same stuff on YouTube. So to the Grinches.
And what's the best way to watch tonight's show?
Well, the best way to watch tonight's show is also on YouTube, and I recommend that you go there if you're not there, and that's youtube.com/Amber Live, and that's because Amber's in full HD there, and all your friends are probably over there in the chat room talking, so you can go over, you can chat with them, you can talk to Amber if she shows up. There's lots of fun. And then I want to remind everyone about our TikTok that we just mentioned, but we're also on Instagram, Facebook, and there's our website, amberlive.tv. So get yourselves out there and follow us everywhere you can. There's a lot of Amber. Oh, I almost forgot. If you can't watch Amber, you can listen to Amber, because we have the Amber Live interviews the interviews are now turned into podcasts. So anywhere you can find great podcasts, you can find Amber, and you can listen to all our interviews on your way to work while you're sitting around at the relatives waiting for the holiday to be over.
Or in the airport. Can you imagine in the airport watching and listening to Amber Live and laughing all the way?
Ho, ho, ho.
And who do we want to reach out to now?
Well, to our bustiers, the people who are helping us through the holidays, helping keep us going. There are our super bustiers who have been fantastic this year, and our regular bustiers. Thank you to all of them. And if you'd like to be a bustier, the holiday's a great time to do it. And you can see that Venmo at RJD Pro, or you can go to amberlive.tv and look for the donate button and use your credit card. And we have 3 different levels of bustiers. If you give $25 or more, we'll get you a sticker. $100 or more, you'll get a sticker and a magnet from the show. And for $200 or more, a sticker, a magnet, and a beautiful brand new mug. And we do want to thank you to all our bustiers throughout the year. And the new year's coming, so we need your support to pay those bills.
Yeah, we got the bills. We got the bills. All right, Russell, let's talk about tonight's show.
Well, actually, before tonight's show, I do want to remind people quickly that the next 2 weeks are off because next Sunday is Christmas and after that's New Year's. So we will be back in the new year. This is I think our 44th or 45th show of the season. It's time for a break. Amber needs her R&R. But tonight's show is the second half of the Jay Rodriguez interview. And the first half was fantastic, and it only gets better from here because he has lots to say about his career and about the state of the world right now. So you don't want to miss it.
And if you missed last week's first part of the interview, that's on YouTube, and you can catch that. And all of our other past shows are on YouTube as well.
It is. And then mixed into tonight's show, we're going to have a little bit of Christmas fun. So you'll get some holiday giggles out of that as well. And of course, we've got some Amber, we've got some old friends joining us, and we've even got some Rocco, and Rocco's pretty funny tonight, so you don't want to miss him.
Oh my God. He's funny. Good. Love you, Rocco. All right, Russell, let's get back into that interview with Jay Rodriguez.
All right, here it is.
All right, Jay Rodriguez, we covered your growing up. We covered you in Rent. We covered you in Queer Eyes for a Straight Guy. What the heck have you been doing since then?
You know, I'm really blessed to say that it was a struggle for a minute, but then to be honest, when I moved to LA, I assumed the agency I was with, which was Bi-Coastal, would represent me here as an actor. And they said, no, you're a television host. You're a reality star. Never going to happen. And that fueled me. And I remember when there was a team of agents that represented at the time, I don't think they still do, the Queer Eye producers, and they wanted to sign all 5 of us. And then they gave us a pitch, then separated us to individual agents that rep us. And that agent said to me, what do you want to do? I said, I want to continue to act. He said, you're never going to be the next Antonio Banderas. What am I going to put you up for? Taco Bell commercials? What do you really want to do? And I hear that voice every time I audition for something. And Ryan Murphy gave me my first big guest star here in LA on a show called Nip Tuck, where I was episode 5. It was season 5, episode 5. I play the title of the episode is called Chaz Darling, and I played this fashion stylist who had an oversized nipple, a deformity that he wanted repaired by one of the surgeons. And just that credit alone on that hot show opened so many doors. And I booked a bunch of guest stars, dramatic and otherwise. And then I got my first pilot. It was like, it never went to series, but it was for the CW. And it was like first year Harvard med students. So think Felicity meets Grey's Anatomy. And it didn't go, but knowing that I was a series regular on that, opened doors. And then my first series regular that went to series actually made me the first guy to garner fame off reality to become scripted series regular in a primetime show. The show was Malibu Country, starring Reba McEntire and Lily Tomlin and Sarah Rue, all giants in their game. And, you know, we ran for a year. You know, in my mind, I'd already bought my house in the hills. Like I was like, this is going to run forever. Lily Tomlin, Reba. But it was a really great opportunity and validating one because I was like, all those old voices, I can silence them now because they didn't win. And, since that time, it's just been a variety of roles, from The Resident to The Rookie to Grey's Anatomy to The Magicians to this year, Bosch Legacy, where I play a straight training officer, to Uncoupled, where I play a fabulous gay with my husband, Jonathan. There we are. I don't know why we're
the two Jonathans. That's fun.
By the way, this is a shocker. I did Rent with him, and I had a huge crush on him, and his boyfriend at the time did Xanadont with me. So we've known each other. So us playing husbands, easy. Chemistry came. We'd finish each other's sentences, easy. Hopefully there'll be a season 2. I think we'll find out in January, and hopefully they'll have us back because we're just recurring guest stars. However, Neil Patrick Harris is the godfather to our kid, and he was at our wedding. So maybe we'll come back. Neil, please have us back. Darren Star, please.
I hope so. But a lot of those gigs that you had, you played drag characters, transsexuals. Tell us about some of those roles.
So, because of the Rent thing, because of Angel, I did get a bunch of drag roles. I did, mistakenly in the about 12 years ago, maybe 13, 14, I took the role of a trans woman. And the reason why I say mistakenly is because I didn't know many trans actors at the time. And the role required singing. And I'd always seen the elders in the community, people I look up to, having had played trans actors as well, or trans women before. And it never dawned on me that when the audition side said no trans women, no drag queens allowed to audition, that was discrimination. And because I just assumed, they want a cisgender male because they want to prove how good of an actor this actor is. And, Trans America had just come out. And so I took the role and tried to give the character such integrity and grace, and consulted with many of my trans friends who then applauded me. However, when it aired, there was language in it I didn't want to say. There was things that I knew were problematic that, it just didn't sit well with me. But when you're an actor, you feel like, oh God, I'm on this fancy show. It's David E. Kelly. Like, can I say anything? I don't want to get fired. So I just bit the bullet. And that was the last time I played a trans woman. I will never audition for trans roles again. There's plenty of trans actors who need the opportunity to give the nuance and the reality of the character in a way that cis people can't. We could mimic it, but we don't have the nuance and the lived experience to tell the story as accurately. And I know because in the writers wrote it one way. Makeup understood that she was a trans woman. Hair thought she was a drag queen, and it was confusing because the trans woman performed in the art form of drag. It was confusing. So I played a bunch of drag queens, but it's funny, one drag queen I played was in the Chelsea Handler's short-lived sitcom, Are You There, Chelsea? I played her dad's straight best friend who moonlights as a drag queen. I played Christina Draguilera with the famous Coco Peru, and Shangela was in the episode on Detroit 187, which was a cop drama on ABC. But I did audition to play the late Leslie Jordan's love interest, and I was pinned for the role of a cabaret drag queen this fall. So I would have been shooting that had I booked it. I don't know if the role is still playing now that Leslie's no longer with us. But I feel like I've done it. In my 25-year career, I don't feel like a pull to go back. And to be fair, all the Drag Race girls are the first ones called, and there's so many of them who are gifted actors. And I use that word in a gender neutral way, that I don't need to do something that there are experts in this field who are doing it very well. But for me, the new frontier at this age and this station is, most of the things I audition for and lately have booked 50-50 ratio are straight roles. That wasn't possible for me 19 years ago. Right. And I don't see it as like, oh, now I'm better because I can. Because Meryl Streep doesn't wake up every morning thinking she needs to legitimize her career by playing a lesbian. And conversely, I don't need to play a straight guy to prove I'm a solid actor. What has changed? The dynamics in the storytelling for queer people. We get juicier, meatier stories that are closer to the center of the story being told. Sometimes we're a bonus character. Sometimes we're an add-on. Sometimes we're just the friend that you know nothing about. But more often than not, lately, we get to actually have a full lived experience in these stories. And those are the ones that I want to tell. Characters that have a full lived experience closer to the center of the story, regardless of who they love.
We're no longer the victim or the bad person.
Yeah. Right.
We're a real person that
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Mhm.
All right, talk about Uncoupled. I didn't realize you had that close
I
relationship.
auditioned for that show on my cell phone. I was shooting Bros. I had the audition in like from my hotel room. I had a garbage can on top of a coffee table using the natural light of the window to audition because we only self-tape now. We don't go in person anymore as actors. And I recorded the other lines like on my iPad and played them so I could have a scene with myself in the room and was shocked when I booked it. I also did that for Bros, to be honest, here at home. And I booked both off of everything this year off. Now I have a nice camera, but when I heard Darren Star and Neil Patrick Harris, I was like, sign me up. I want this job. Just have them offer it to me. How do I not just get cast? Like at this point, it's a fabulous gay. Duh. So when I booked the role, I was excited. I thought there'd be a little bit more to do. You know, our characters in season 1 were not the center principal cast, but in every Darren Star show, or in many shows in general, season 1 has to set up who everyone is. And season 1 of Uncoupled, the final episode, even let you know more about the principal cast that needs to be unpacked later. Then they can weave in the supporting cast later in more dynamic ways. But, you know, I will say, I think, you know, Colin, who plays my husband on the show, he and I made more of the roles than what was on the page. And Darren even said that to us. And that was really validating, that he just felt that we were great together. And so I have a strong feeling if the show comes back, we will be utilized again, but you really never know.
I have to admit, when I heard about the show, I said, I love Neil Patrick Harris, but am I really interested in a bunch of rich, lonely gay guys?
Listen,
in New York
I
City?
am not rich. I don't know. The townhouse we shot in had to be millions upon millions. 2 stories that I live there. I was like, what do I have an OnlyFans about feet? Like, how can I afford this? We still don't know what we do for a living or why we were able to afford that. But, you know, I think there's a part of the escapism TV that's aspirational that people are really drawn to. I am more like, my apartment's a little bit more kitschy, CB2, you know, Urban Outfitters kind of bohemian vibe. You know, my furniture looks really good, but it probably didn't cost a lot. And so parts of it are not necessarily relatable to me in terms of aesthetic, but the stories are pretty common, and we've all felt this way. And I guess it just shows no matter what socioeconomic level you live at, jealousy, pain, all those things we experience very similarly.
And Neil Patrick Harris is a great actor.
A generous one too. He would let you have moments that were not supposed to be yours. He was great.
You can tell that. You can tell that. Just whether it be that show or his hosting the Tonys or anything else that he's done, you know, he's a good person.
On the red carpet for the premiere in New York City, I had just done the Bosch red carpet where they had me, and I'm only in 2 episodes of Bosch, and I'm in, you know, and that's like 10 episodes. And they're like, no, the whole cast. So that's what I was used to. I go to the Uncoupled premiere, they take a picture of everybody. Then they're like, okay, just the cast. So, yep, there I am. I stayed. You know what's weird about that picture? It's Darren Star. It's Jeffrey, the writer from Modern Family. You see Tisha, you see Emerson, you see Neil, you see Brooks, and you see Jay, who is a recurring guest star and not a principal lead. I didn't know any better. And that picture circulated. When literally a PR girl was like, Jay, can we just have the principal cast? I was like, oh, yes. Oh my God. I was so humiliated. And I was like, I hope they didn't think that I was like elbowing into their project. But again, you do got to assert yourself until you're asked to leave because, you know, for someone like me, we don't get those opportunities all the time.
How long did it take to do that series? You were in 3 episodes of Uncoupled.
I shot right after Bros. I want to say it was like end of November. No, it was November. The month of November, I shot a bit. I didn't shoot in December, and then I shot some in January. But I think they shot November, December, January. 3 months is how long it took, I think.
Where was your wedding reception held?
At the Boathouse in Brooklyn. It was beautiful. I feel like I got married. I feel like I got married because they played the wedding march when I came down the aisle. The woman who played my mother was on the Golden Girls. If you remember the Golden Girls episode where Sophia moves out with an older, like, geriatric, and he's super rich, and there's a Latin maid who shows Blanche the Jackson Pollock in the John. That's my mother, April. She's fantastic. So I was like, I felt a connection to her. She's getting misty when giving me away. We went through the whole vows, which they don't show, but like we went through all of it. And it's Colin, who I've known forever. I was like, oh, I was married now. Like I was like literally like in the color purple, like I was married now. Like literally. I really felt it. And it was very cold, no heat in the building. It was, dead of winter in January. People had warming jackets. The doors were ajar because of the cables. So it was like probably 30 degrees. You could see our breath in some scenes. They had to figure that out. But, I've never wanted to be married more than the months that followed that shoot. Really. I was like, but if I never do, at least I have that. I know what it feels like.
Oh, it was beautiful.
My battery is dying, so I'm going to...
Okay, we'll take a break right now, and we'll be right back with Jay Rodriguez. You watch the show regularly, you know that we end every show with our good friends Boog and Shug. Well, we're bringing them in a little early tonight because they're going to sing us a song. Take it away, boys.
Ah! You okay, Shug?
Yes.
Ugh.
Boog, why are you up here on this dangerous icy roof in the cold?
Because Christmas is coming!
Most people celebrate Christmas inside a warm house. You know, by the Yule log, drinking eggnog, and singing with friends and family.
Well, I'm not most people.
No, you are not.
One of my favorite Christmas carols is about the rooftop, so I want to sing it up here.
Okay, then. Let's sing it. And then, let's go get some eggnog to warm up. Up on the rooftop, reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus. Down through the chimney with lots of toys, all for the little good of girls and boys. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Santa. First comes the stocking of little Nell. Oh dear Santa, fill it well. Give her a dolly that laughs and cries, one that will open and shut its eyes. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Santa. Next comes the stocking of little Will. Oh, just see what a glorious fill. Here is a hammer and lots of tacks, a whistle and a ball and a whip that cracks. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Santa. Okay, I'll admit that was kind of fun to sing up here. But now all the neighbors are staring at us.
See? No normal Christmas for me.
No normal anything for you. But I like it that way.
Me too. Me too.
Okay, let's climb down before someone calls the police. Kids, don't try this at home. It's not safe. We are trained professionals.
Ah!
You okay, Boog?
Yep. I guess the roof was a bad idea.
Thank you, Boog and Shug. Russell, come on in.
I love those two. They're funny.
Yes, they are.
I hope Boog recovers quickly. But while Boog's recovering, we have so much more in the show tonight. We've got 2 more segments with Jay Rodriguez. We've got a little story from you, Amber, talking about your Christmas traditions. I think we might even get to see Grandpa LeMay tonight.
Oh,
and then there's segment 3 of Jay Rodriguez and Rocco. And a very old dear friend who has passed on at the end of the show, too, who'll be back to sing for us. So there's a lot to go here. But before we get there, I want to remind everyone about the Bustiers. So if you can donate, please help us out. We do need your support. It's a great, great thing. You can use that Venmo at RJD Pro to give your holiday donation to Amber Live and get us on the air in 2023, season 4.
You know, if any of you saw me out in a bar or someplace, you'd buy me a drink, wouldn't you? So how about just Venmoing that $6, $7, $8 to me right now? That would be great.
Wow,
Really
you got cheap drinks there.
I'm a cheap girl. All right, let's go back to the interview with Jay Rodriguez. All right, technical difficulties have been taken care of, we hope. Okay, so we just finished talking about Uncoupled, which I hope there's a second season. I really do.
Me
Not
too.
just for you, but I loved it. Like I said, I had trepidation going, oh, do I really care about these people?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I do too. I have to say, I want to know what happens with Tisha's baby's daddy. I want to know what happens with Brooks's cancer. Like, there's all this stuff I want to know about. But yeah, it's been fun. And, you know, I've been documenting my behind the scenes during the pandemic. I had to figure out what to do. And I did a lot of live shows every single day on Facebook and Instagram. And the people were like, we want a website where we can go be members of. So I created this Patreon, which is this neon sign behind me that says Jay's World. It's all lit up. You can't see it. I had to change the aperture because we just switched batteries. But it has been my saving grace because it allows me to video journal my life, and you know, it is membership based, and it's been like a non-sexual OnlyFans, but it has really kept me afloat during the pandemic when I was, you know, working sporadically, and now it's like a real passion project where it's a sense of community, and I've really enjoyed having. I was the last one that ever wanted to do anything like a YouTube channel or a Patreon, but when I saw my peers doing it, it seemed to be really a great way to just stay creative, especially times when you're between jobs.
I'm here in Burlington, Vermont, and our town closed down on March 16th of 2020. On March 22nd, I called up Russell and I said, hey, I want to do something. I see people doing live things on Facebook. Let's do something. And so we just started doing something, and we've done over 130 episodes now since then. Yeah,
here we are. I believe in this. You know, like I have got a podcast. I follow behind the scenes of my acting work. You know, I do stuff on my animals, but more than anything else, it's like a window into some of our passions. And even the way you've led this discussion, it's just a beautiful window into your observation of like my career and stuff. And having these kind of conversations are, I think, always fun to watch and listen to.
Yeah, I talk to people from all over the world from my basement here in the old North End of Burlington, Vermont. It's fascinating. All right, we talked about Uncoupled. You mentioned Bros a couple times. So how did you get connected with Bros?
So I auditioned to play the Luke McFarlane character. I auditioned to play Billy Eichner's love interest, CrossFit going guy in December of 2020. December 2020. Wow. Right before 2021. And I remember telling my agent, I don't look like a personal trainer. And they said, you're not auditioning for this role. You're not even auditioning for this movie. You're auditioning for everyone that sees that tape for the rest of your life. And I was like, okay, with that I can do. I did it, forgot it. Knew it was being made, but I was like, there's no way. Who cares? Then in July of 2021, wow. I got an audition. They're like, for the same movie. And then my agent said, see a note from casting. And casting said, hey, Jay, we'd love to have you audition for the role that you previous auditioned for as brother. And please affect the same bro-y accent you used last time. And I was like, did I use it? I don't know. It was like 7 months ago. So I did the tape. I did not know it was going to be an all LGBTQ plus cast. So I sent it in begrudgingly. I sent it in with a lot of old resentments of those old voices that said, you will never be able to play this kind of a role in television and film. And I was really frustrated because I felt the tape was so good. And I was like, I don't care who gets it, but that's 100% how he has to be played. 100%. I stand by that performance. Sent it in, forgot it. Didn't hear anything for 3.5 weeks. And I was like, I didn't get it. So I was driving around doing errands and my agents called me, agent and manager, speakerphone. That's usually like a conference call. Usually you book something or you're in trouble. And when they told me I had to pull over because I started crying, it was like all those old memories. It was the agent who told me I would never be the next Antonio Banderas. That's as far as his dreams could go for me. It was every single manager or agent that didn't want to rep me because they didn't know what to do with a queer client because they didn't see a lot of queer roles and they didn't think I could do anything else. It was 24 years at that point of hard work. And it was a moment to be remembered that Judd Apatow and Billy Eichner and, you know, Nicholas Stoller had decided that I was worthy of playing a lead, a straight lead in a major motion picture. It was important. It was important because we all have stories that we tell ourselves that someone else told us. And whether we really believe them or not, sometimes they're hard to ignore, those voices. And for the first time in my adult life, I was really able to like let go of that, because I felt like even if this doesn't happen again, I've had honest conversations with Judd and Nick and had them not trying to blow smoke up my ass, but just commend my little 3-minute performance. And that matters. It matters because it's queer history. It's someone who is the first all-out gay cast of network TV and now the first all LGBTQ plus major motion picture by a studio. And that matters because we're saying the word first a lot. And it's because we weren't allowed before. And now not only are we allowed, but we're allowed to thrive and shine, just like our straight counterparts have been since the inception of entertainment.
What was the feeling like being on the set, knowing that everyone around you was of your community, that you didn't have to say, ooh, maybe I shouldn't say that.
I think I found
maybe
out.
I'm too femme. Yeah.
I think I found out like 2 weeks or maybe like the week of that everyone was LGBT. I knew that Amanda Bierce from Married with Children, The Neighbor, Marcy Darcy was my mom. And I knew that Luke McFarlane was my brother. So I was already following him on social media. But the first week they started shooting and the cast list came down, so he saw the call sheet. He DM'd me on Instagram and was like, hey, brother, can't wait to meet you. Can't wait to work with you, or something like that. And I screen grabbed that and like, it was, I loved him on Brothers and Sisters, and he's such a TV heartthrob and icon, but he's a Juilliard graduate. He's a Juilliard trained actor, and be able to spar on set with someone with that kind of level of training as an actor and someone I've admired for such a long time, and for him to graciously greet me. Let me tell you something. I was supposed to fly in on a Tuesday and work Wednesday. The weather in New York was an outside shoot that week for something, and they had to switch. So Monday morning, my phone had 43 missed calls at 8 a.m. from the production manager saying, can you get on a flight right now? I called back. I was like, hi, what? It's like 9:30 in the morning. And they're like, can you get on a flight? I was like, I have my dog. I'm not so I literally got on like I think a 2 p.m. flight or something. Anyway, I got in like midnight-ish. There was delays. I didn't get back to the hotel till like 2 something in the morning, and the car picked me up at 5:30. And so with no sleep, I had my fitting and did my 2 big scenes at the end of the movie with Luke. And it was great. It was great because I had called Nick at the airport the day before, the director and the writer, Nicholas Stoller. And I was like, but I mean, I didn't get to work with you. I don't like, do you have any notes on how this, did you like the tape? Like, I don't, and he was like, honestly, we're going to work on set, but like, even if you did exactly what you did on your tape, I'd be thrilled. So that was really sweet. And it was great. And it was just like it was a great feeling because every time I turned around, I was like, oh, I got, to hang out with Simone. We had a scene that got a little cut. We didn't have like words with each other, but we're in the same scene. So I got to hang out with Simone and, Guillermo Diaz, who also plays Straight and Married on this. I grew up watching him. My first agency, when I got Rent, they represented him and they were like, we see you as a younger Guillermo Diaz. And I just have always admired him because he was, straight gangster on Weeds, like in Huck on Scandal, straight. And he's out and gay and living his best life. And, I've admired his work as an actor and even more so as an outspoken human. He's just really politically active and very verbal with his views, which I appreciate.
Now, when Bros premiered, It didn't. It wasn't the big box office smash that some people thought it was going to be, and there's lots of conversation about that. But some of the producers and the big shots really came out harsh against people who didn't come and see the movie.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
So, listen, I didn't expect this to be a big, huge blockbuster hit because I know that half the country already, not half, but there's some portion of the country that still feels a certain kind of way. And being an out, Puerto Rican man in Hollywood, a lot of people of color who happen to be queer or LGBT felt slighted that there was another film that centered around another white couple, because in indie style, we've seen this a million times. Now, in the film's defense and the writers and creators and directors, I think the movie was beautifully cast. They hired someone who was telling a version of their story. Billy Eichner, Bobby, is a heightened version of Billy's lived experience. If I was a writer and presented a script and it was made, it would be my lived experience. But Billy had a choice. He could have had big movie stars in all these roles, and instead, he chose to have all LGBTQ plus people. Progress. He could have hired straight people for the straight roles. He didn't. Progress. So, I think we did really well in streaming. And I believe as of December 2nd, you can stream on Peacock, and it's available for purchase. There's also a DVD with bonus scenes, which I can't wait. There's a hunting scene where Luke comes out to me. Let's just say I had a gun in my hand, didn't go well. But but listen, what I see next is, now that this was the opening of a door, what I want is for queer actors such as myself, who paid our dues, have been a long time in this industry, who happen to be people of color. I don't want to be the friend or the sibling in the next incantation of this. I'd like to have stories that feature more queer people of color, played by queer people of color. We had Moonlight, straight folk. We don't get those chances very often. And many of us talk all the time, and we're like, we know. If we audition, we don't even expect to be number one on the call sheet, because we know that those stories aren't often told. So there was a bunch of also people who felt like that, Billy on the street was Billy Eichner, when it's not. It's like a persona. And if you see the movie, it's undeniably good. And he really bears his soul in it. And there's a beach scene that even at the LA premiere, I pulled him aside. And I was like, it's so good. It's so honest. And there's a moment in his monologue where I feel he shifts from Bobby, the character, to just honest Billy, sharing his experience. And I related to so much of what he shared. So to me, it's a beautiful movie that any adult should see. It's funny. It's the queer version of Bridesmaids. But this is just the opening of a door. As I've noticed in my career, you open a door for those who come behind you to have an easier time moving forward. And this is a stepping stone. And this film will have its place in the history books and mark, an important moment. And, in terms of what people said and, producers or whatever, like, I can't control people's mouths. Like, I saw it as fodder and comedy and their knee-jerk response, but I'm not in a position to even promote the show. They didn't utilize me for any press, which I think was a missed opportunity. But I will say, had they done that, my response probably wouldn't have been different. Look, my response was in defense of the film, because I think it is a solid film, and everyone I know who's seen it across the spectrum has really enjoyed it. But I can understand how people have certain grievances, especially if it's your child and you've been with this project for years and you finally get it made and it doesn't have the response that you were expecting. But at the end of the day, this will be one of those slow burner hits that maybe didn't start big, but will find its place in queer history.
Yes, it came out at a time where people were still hesitant about going into a theater. Mm-hmm. All right. And then when it got on streaming, it was like $30 to watch it.
So now it's going to be free on
it's going to take off. It's going to take off. All right. Well, Jay, we have more to talk to you about of After Bros and some things about current events as well in our next segment. So we'll be right back with Jay Rodriguez.
Love it.
Oh, it's Christmas time, and some people get very emotional about Christmas, and I've got to admit that, yes, I sometimes do too. Yeah, believe it or not, I get emotional. And I often think about, what was my favorite Christmas present ever? What was yours? What was your favorite Christmas present ever? Mine was the year that Grandma Edna St. Vincent LeMay gave my sister Marguerite and I a close and play phonograph. Yes. How many out there remember what a close and play phonograph was? Oh, we thought we were in heaven because we'd put our records in there, close that lid, and then we'd just sing and dance. What we would do is Grandma ran the laundromat. So we would go down to the laundromat and she even made us a little stage there with curtains. And while she would fluff and fold, smoking her cigarettes, she would let us sing and dance and carry on, and the people loved it. So that became our love of entertaining, and we knew that was our gift. So that close and play has really started me off on my fabulous career that I've had. Yeah. But Grandma, I mentioned that she was a smoker. Oh, yes, she was. But she put, she was a frugal person too, and thrifty. And so she made use of her cigarette butts. Yeah, she thought, oh, there's some use for those. She's very crafty. I think that's where Lucy Bug gets her craftiness from. But anyway, what she would do every Christmas, she would make her cigarette butt balls. Yes. Yes, see that? That's Grandma LeMay's cigarette butt balls. It smells like Grandma. Christmas memories. Oh, I hang it in the doorway every year. It reminds me of Grandma. Yes. And you know what? She wasn't the only one talented in that family. No, Grandpa LeMay was a great singer and entertainer too. And many years ago, he performed in one of our shows, our Christmas shows. And we've got a tape of Grandpa LeMay singing. Show it, Russell.
I came upon a road killdeer, a sorrowful sight to behold. He lay beside the highway's edge, his body stiff and cold. I bet he never saw that car careening through the snow. The lights shine brightly in his eyes, and then they laid him low. I came upon a roadkill deer, lifted him off from the road. We'll all enjoy a Christmas feast of Bambi Sloppy Joes. Be careful of the gravel bits, they really get stuck in your teeth. We took the antlers off his head and put them on our wreath. I came upon a road, a sorrowful sight to behold. He gave his all to bring us cheer as bumper mistletoe.
Ah, still smells like Grandma. Christmas memories. And now let's get back to the interview with Jay Rodriguez. All right, we're back with Jay Rodriguez. We just got finished talking about Bros, the movie that's going to be streaming on Peacock soon. Can't wait. All right. So, Jay, what have you been doing since Bros?
Yeah, so I shot Bros a year ago, and then this spring I shot a great series called Fantasy Island starring Rosalind Sanchez that airs on Fox. Great.
Okay, is that is that a takeoff of
the plane? Yeah, it's the reboot of that.
and what's your character?
So I play a guy who's going to celebrate his bestie's bachelor party. I have two straight besties. The funny thing is we're around the same age and we're all Latin, and that never happens. Normally we were sharing, it's usually we get to be the one Latin, and the three of us who are auditioned for the same parts and we're up for a lot of the same jobs are usually, never getting to work together. So that was a really beautiful experience. And I play this guy who basically has lost his confidence. He's scared of everything, and he goes to the island to basically overcome his fears. And the island gives you not necessarily what you want, but what you need. And that episode will be on Fox on June 9th, but the series begins on June the 2nd. January, not June. What a good pitch, except for the date.
We got you in January. That was just
January.
Just around the corner.
The series starts January 2nd. My episode, I believe, is the second episode, making it January 9th.
What else is coming up?
Yeah, so I just shot 2 episodes of Nora from Queens with Bowen Yang, who was a dream to work with and so gracious. And, you know, I was fangirling and trying to be professional at the same time. I didn't even ask for a picture. I'm kicking myself for that. But he was lovely. I got his cell phone number, so I guess next time I'm in New York, I'll give him a ring. But I always like to know the up and coming queer, you know, people in entertainment, because there might be times where we need to bounce ideas off each other or get support in ways that only someone in entertainment who does what you do would be able to provide. What are you doing? Hey, let me get my dog out of here. I'm sorry.
He's human. He has a pet. And I'm sure it's adorable.
He's very cute, but he was like, I don't know. I get a little, hold on. We're going to focus our lighting. There we go.
Okay. So that's cool about working with Bowen Yang, because, you know, before last year, no one knew of him, you know, outside of New York, but now we know him from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he's got so many great movie hits and like great cameos and things. He's in Bros. He's that Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum movie. Like he's really being able to showcase what he does and appeal to a broader audience. And I don't remember SNL having too many Asian American actors, never mind queer ones. So I think he's really killing it.
Yeah. Do you remember Terry Sweeney? That was probably way before he was probably the first openly gay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. You've got this 20 plus years of show business. You've established some street cred there. How are you going to use that? What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, you know, I think what off the heels of people like Billy Eichner and so many others who created original content, I think that's the next chapter, is to be more of a producer and talent attached, as opposed to just waiting for something to come to me. In taking meetings with different production companies and networks, they're seeing me more as a consultant because of my quarter century of experience in the industry and the communities that I represent. And generally speaking, in some of these meetings, people who I'm meeting with don't represent my lived experience, and they want an authentic window in. So from being the actor to being the storyteller on a more producer angle is the goal. And certainly my life has given me those you know, the career to kind of support that decision.
Well, you can do it. You can do it. Just by talking with you this past hour or so, I can tell you can do it. All right. You're aware of what's going on in the world today. You're a smart person. Our community is being attacked, both politically with Don't Ask Gay laws, with taking books out of schools, with drag shows and drag queen story hours being harassed, with shootings at gay bars and drag shows. What the hell's going on, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, when we did Queer Eye, we were living in a bubble. You know, we didn't experience much hate. There wasn't social media. The president, who was ultra conservative at the time, President Bush, talked about us in a loving way. Donald Trump did an episode with us. It was a different time. And to see the shift in the past 6 years politically, and voices that were normally muffled or would say things in dark corners, now saying them proudly and publicly, even, you know, government leaders and politicians spewing hate and ignorance and bigotry and gaining an audience by rallying a common enemy. And most often than not, they have come for LGBTQ plus people. It's almost like gays get a pass, or some gays get a pass. And it's always kind of been that way. And, you know, ask trans people who've been around long enough to remember, you know, they're the last to be considered, even in the LGBTQ plus community. So it doesn't surprise me that conservatives would jump on the bandwagon. And when it comes to drag, look, I performed in the art form of drag in a musical that was, you know, for teenagers or adults. It's a rated R musical. And so for me, the things that kids are exposed to. We talk about oftentimes the sexualizing of kids, but it's done at such an early age when people saying like, oh, do you have a girlfriend? How many times have you been asked that, basically probed about what you like before you've even hit puberty. And when it comes to the art form of drag, as long as it's age appropriate, I think it's up to the parent to decide what kind of entertainment content they subject them to. But to make a blanket statement that all drag is not appropriate for kids is incorrect. Maybe not for your kids if you have an issue with that and you would prefer to teach your kids that drag is bad. But to say that, someone who's adorning a costume that's, to them going to look like a princess or a character, and it's an actor essentially portraying a role, reading a children's book to them, that's entertaining. You have clowns reading to kids, and Bianca Del Rio would argue it's the same thing. I just, to hear it really bums me out, because sometimes I hear people saying things and I'm like, yeah, if you go to a drag show at 1 a.m. at a bar, that's not appropriate for kids. It's barely appropriate for me, but it's designed to be the kind of comedy and entertainment for adults at that hour. However, there are some family-friendly style drag shows that they know they get more family-friendly stuff. So they'll tell them, do the Disney numbers, do the blah, 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 be mindful, there's kids in the house. But, it's really up to the parents and use common sense. But to be honest, it's like knowing what parents subject their kids to, whether it's violence, whether it's like shooting video games, whether it's pageants that over-sexualize, young kids, dance competitions with risque outfits that go viral, sometimes for the wrong reasons. The kids have been sexualized at a very early age. As a parent, it is your job to shield them. But I don't think that drag is sexualizing children. But the other thought I always have is, when I was younger, I would have loved to have seen drag queens around. I have some incredible drag queen friends who basically raised me, and they were some of the people who were there for me the most in such a way that was, my family couldn't. They didn't have the wherewithal to support me in those ways. So my relationship with drag is very simple. It's entertainment. And like any entertainment, some of it comes with a rating, and you should be mindful of understanding what you're walking into. I personally wouldn't bring a kid to a late night drag show. They should be in bed.
That's for sure. So I saw this story once where a young child saw a drag queen and said, "Mommy, what's that? Why are they like that?"
Yeah.
And the parents said, "Well, you like to dress up and have fun, don't you?" And kid said, yes. And, well, that's what they're doing. They're dressing up.
Yeah, by the way, we have straight drag queens. We have Dame Edna. We have, the kid that competed on RuPaul's Drag Race. I think the idea is we have some trans women who perform in the art form of drag. And then we have some cisgender guys who happen to be gay or queer and also perform in drag. And they don't live as a woman. They don't want to be a woman. It's just an extension of entertainment. And I personally find it entertaining. It is a successful medium that's proven to have found an international fan base of people who really appreciate and enjoy that art form. And it brings joy, love, acceptance. I think, Drag Race is a beautiful window into the stories behind the entertainers, many of which have been dark. And we all know what it's like to feel different. But drag is about finding your inner self that is the best parts of you and giving them a little sparkle and shine and allowing you to express that in a safe way through the drag. And that's why I used to like Drag You. It was a show where drag queens would put people in drag and give them almost these superpowers to access parts of themselves that they never had access to because they were too shy or meek, but always live within them. And on your darkest days, you can call upon that energy.
Jay, what would you talk to the youth of today? What would you say to them?
I think learn your history. If we're talking queer youth, I would say learn your history. Find out some of the lessons that you won't learn in school. Some of the people that came before you. Give people like me a follow on social media. I'll take you along for the ride. That's an important part because oftentimes as a queer person, you can feel like you're the first who has done X, Y, and Z or experienced X, Y, and Z. And to know you have generations of people who came before you who've experienced the same thing and have come out on the other side for the better, they can often guide you and make you feel supported or make you feel less alone. And I would say continue to use your voice. You're so much braver. You have so much more courage than I did at your age. And so thank you for making the world a more tolerant place for the next generation. You really have. So many of the young people out there have been beacons of hope. And when I look at how many straight allies are verbal in their words and loud and proud with their actions in their support of the community, that warms my heart, because we can't do it alone. We can't. We need our allies as well.
Jay, thank you so much for spending the time with us tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed the interview, and you're a good person, Jay.
I try. If you got the social media, give me a follow at J.I. Rodriguez across the board. Also have a Patreon, so come follow me there. It's J. Rodriguez World on Patreon. Love to see you. And thank you again so much, Amber. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you.
See ya.
We had so much fun talking to Jay Rodriguez. He spent over an hour and a half with us one afternoon and just was open and free and just couldn't have been more gracious. Thank you so much, Jay. You know, we talk a lot about Christmas, but there's another holiday that takes place around this time of year, and Rocco's going to tell us a story about it.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Rocco. I just want to take a moment not just to wish you guys a Merry Christmas and all that, but also, you know, there's people out there celebrating other stuff like Kwanzaa and, of course, Hanukkah. Now, years ago, I may have done something to, you know, sort of say, hey, I get it. Let's celebrate Hanukkah. I read a poem, and you know what? I'm going to show you that poem right now. It's old. I look a little younger, but it's still me. All right? So, this is it. Check it out.
Hey, how you all doing, kids? Huh? Welcome to Rocco's Hanukkah special. Hey, what a treat we got today. I'm going to start you off with a little Hanukkah poem that I myself, Rocco, composed. What do you think about that? I wrote this while I was in the camp. 'Twas the night before Hanukkah, and all through the house, not a dreidel was spinning, 'cause Dad was a louse. He was too cheap to buy toys, which made the kids really hurt. So they all decided that, hey, let's convert. Hey, Sammy, hey, Brittany, hey, little Mordecai, you guys try to convert, I'm really gonna make you cry. Oh, but Father, we want our own Christmas wish. Hey, what are we, Jews or just, you know, Jewish? But we love our heritage, and we're proud as can be. But why can't we get our own Christmas tree? The father replied as he reached for his belt, you want a tree, then use your own gelt. So the kids ran off to go get a tree, when suddenly Santa comes down the chimney. I heard your remark, said the jolly old elf, as he lit the manure that was on the shelf. Christmas is not just for the religious anymore. Forget about Jesus, it's me they adore. I bring lots of presents and toys for the tots. And for you some bagels, cream cheese, and lox. The father's eyes widened as he heard Santa speak, and he responded to Santa in a voice small and meek. You mean you'll bring what I desire and wish? Toys, cars, presents, and gefilte fish? Santa said yes, as up the chimney he flew. You can celebrate Christmas even though you're a Jew. Remember that, kids, and you all have a happy Hanukkah out there, all right? Peace.
Hi, this is adult film star Dick Johnson. I'd just like to wish all my female fans out there a happy holidays and a very, very Merry Christmas. To all the Jewish ladies, Asher Kedishon B'Mitzvah Tov B'Tzivon Lahadlik Neshel Hanukkah.
Oh, what about all us guys?
Oh, happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas to all the guys too.
So that was it. Pretty good, right? And I don't know where that last clip came from. Maybe it was left in on purpose, maybe it wasn't. But either way, that was for all my guy friends who prefer the company of men. All right? Enjoy. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. From me to you, I'll see you guys later. I don't know when. I don't know what's going on. But hey, happy holidays.
Love that, Rocco.
Thank you, Rocco. We needed that reminder. Again, we talk about Christmas memories, and one of my cherished Christmas memories is one of my good friends, Lady Zena, who passed away 19 years ago. But we have this recording of her singing her special Lady Zena Christmas song. Enjoy. Have a good
time. Well, I'll tell you what I do to cheer myself up at Christmas.
Are batteries included?
Have yourself a Lady Zena Christmas. Woo! Drink a Miller Lite. From now on, sobriety is out of sight. Have yourself a Lady Zena Christmas. Celebrate with pride. And for kicks, put eggnog in your next mudslide. Here we are once again this year for a little cheer or loss. Being here with the girls LeMay and some Tanqueray. The years we all will be together if livers allow. Raise your glass. Raise your glass. Raise your glass and let me hear you take a vow. And have yourself a Lady Zena Christmas now.
I miss you, Zeno. All right, as we said earlier, we're going to take 2 weeks off, but we'll be back that first Wednesday of January for our monthly Amber Chat. So check in with us around 8:15 on that first Wednesday of January. And then the following Sunday on the 8th is our first show of our 4th season with our good friends Brad Forenza, Yolanda, and Francois Clemens is coming back to tell us more about his life. So that's January 8th. Until then, the happiest and safest holidays to all of you.
Jingle bells, Rocco smells, Rusty's in a tub. Lucy Bell has cooked a smell and Amber's drinking